It is arguably the most anticipated match of this Australian Open. The heir apparent versus the incumbent. The apprentice versus the master. What a moment for Stefanos Tsitsipas as he goes in against one of the greats of the game, Rafael Nadal, to see who will be the first man through to the Australian Open Championships of 2019. The battle is about to begin.
Men's singles semi-final action. Please welcome to Rod Laver Arena, the tournament number 14 seed, a star of the next generation, from Greece, Stefanos Tsitsipas. And his opponent, an Australian Open champion, the holder of 17 Grand Slam titles, the world number 2, from Spain, Rafael Nadal.
A great reaction from the crowd for both men as they enter the arena. It's not too often that Rafael Nadal, playing against a non-Australian player, would have a split audience to cope with because he's such a hero. But then again, this young man has become a big star in a very short space of time. Stefanos Tsitsipas, and he faces his biggest moment on a stifling Melbourne night. Thursday night, the roof open, as you can see. It's only just dipped under the level where they can open the roof. 38 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It has been a scorcher in Melbourne, and appropriately tonight we are in for the hottest of hot contests to see whether this man, the 17-time Grand Slam champion, can take a step towards winning the Australian Open Championship for the second time. Stefanos, before he came here, 4th round was his best at a Grand Slam. That was at Wimbledon last year. But he's taken giant strides here. There were a couple of injury issues as he made his way here, but it hasn't appeared that way. And this is a mouth-watering prospect. It's got all of Australia talking. It's got many parts of the sporting world talking. Look at the determination on the look of that man. The minute that he comes onto the court, it's all about business. He does it his way, and he wants to command what is going on from the word go and capitalise on any nerves that the young man might be feeling.
Stefanos, our guest. Good evening. Right, so gentlemen, we have the net machine. 25 seconds between points from the first to the last point of the match. You have 4 screens, one each side here, and on both screens over there. Okay, set challenge, please. 5 minutes warm up, 1 minute to get ready for the match. Okay? Any questions? Stefanos, your choice, Rod Laver or A and Z? Rod Laver. Rod Laver. Serve. Serve. Stay. Picture, please.
There's a treasured moment. They might be talking about this moment and this match in years to come as potentially the changing of the guard in tennis. John Fitzgerald is sitting alongside me in the commentary box at Rod Laver Arena. Fitzy, what a prospect. One of the greatest of all time against a young man making his mark in the game. This has got so much to look forward to.
Yeah, perfectly said, Peter. Look, yes, absolutely one of the greatest of all time. The man with the second best record in majors of all time. So he's going to be a hard man to topple for Tsitsipas here. But having said that, he did beat Roger Federer just 2 rounds ago.
He's 20 years of age. His career earnings are approaching $3 million. He won his first title last year in Stockholm, made the finalist in Barcelona and Toronto, and became the youngest ever to beat 4 top 10s on the way. He lost that final to Rafael Nadal. He won the ATP Next Gen final where he swept all 5 matches, and that really did confirm his announcement as one of the rising stars of the game. As I mentioned, Fourth round at Wimbledon was his best before he came here. There are some of the workload stats and the physical journey that he's had along the way. He's only played one previous Australian Open, went out in the first round last year. So what an achievement this is in just his 7th Grand Slam, his 2nd Australian Open. He's got that freshness and that vitality that has attracted him to fans around the world. And he goes in tonight onto one of the biggest stages in the game with a huge army behind him. But of course, so does this man at 32 years of age, the number 2 seed, a winner of more than $100 million in his career, the 17-time Grand Slam champion. He lifted the trophy, the Norman Brooks Challenge Cup, here in Australia in 2009. He's been runner-up here 3 times, 2012, 14 and 17. Of course, that remarkable French Open record of 11 championships. He was the champion at Wimbledon in 2008 and 2010, and the US Open champion 3 times, 2010, 13 and 17. He went to Brisbane, he withdrew, had a thigh strain. There were all sorts of issues with his body. The Australian Open is his first event since retiring in the semi-finals of the US Open last year. Since then, he's had surgery on his right ankle. Have a listen to this welcome. John Fitzgerald, when we go through all of those injuries that he's carried and what he's done to his body over the years, it's remarkable that he keeps on achieving this sort of standard.
You know, for a normal tennis player, that much time off speaks volumes about what you expect your form to be. There's the round 2, the semi-finals for both of them.
And the one thing that doesn't show, Fitzy, is the time on court. Tsitsipas 15 hours 31 minutes. Nadal 10 hours 25 minutes.
Yeah, well, he's fresh, isn't he, Rafa?
Yeah.
But getting back to the point of not playing for all of those months, that is a difficult thing to do for a professional. To come out, be the first event since retiring at the US Open and be in this form, that's a rare commodity to be able to do that. It's not common. Players they just can't switch it on like that. That in itself speaks volumes about what a monumental player Rafa Nadal is. So he's in the semi-final. He's favourite here on paper, no question. Tsitsipas has beaten Roger, but this is 2 rounds later. It's a semi-final. The pressure here is a different level. And the ball that he'll receive from Rafael Nadal is a different ball than he's seen all tournament. This is the heaviest forehand and ground strokes in the men's game. They come at you like hand grenades.
Can I ask you a question about what's going on here, the hit-up? Is there any psychology that might be in the hit-up? Nadal, does he want to present the image to Tsitsipas, who's come out here obviously nervous, and even just try and boss him a little bit in the hit-up? Is that something that the players try and do occasionally?
Well, I think it's not beyond the realms of possibility. I think Rafa's ball anyway is going to be heavy. Whenever he hits it in practice, in the warm-up or in the match, it is the heaviest ball in tennis. So he's not going to temper it in the hit-up, and that is a shock to the system down the other end. So whether he intends it to be intimidating or not, it probably doesn't really matter, because it is anyway. And you know, I think for Tsitsipas to feel that initial heaviness of his ball coming onto his strings is a real eye-opener. So it's a matter of how quickly, I think, Peter, that he gets ready or gets used to handling that pace.
One last point. I mentioned that Stefanos will be nervous. He has to be out there tonight. We had the opportunity of looking at some vision of him in the locker room after the match had been called, and he was pacing the floor. He looked very edgy.
Well, I think it's just human, isn't it? I mean, he has to be nervous. He was against Roger, though, 2 rounds ago, and he was jumpy in the first couple of games, and then he settled down, and when he felt comfortable, he played at his, you know, at his highest level, most likely. So, look, I don't know how he'll go tonight in terms of settling down, but he will have a sustained barrage of heaviness. It's a different ball. That's the major point I want to make than he receives from anyone else. He's in the semi-finals. He has to have tiredness that's built up. He's played more hours. I think he'll play really well tonight. For me, it's a question of how long he can sustain that against Nadal.